Hello, everybody, and welcome to the PSR podcast, Season 4, Episode 8. My name is TuckerLeRat, and with me are my co hosts, Iron.
Hello.
And Headbob.
Good morning.
So, this is sort of a 2-month podcast. We did miss last month, but here to cover what's happened in both November and October. So, a couple of things that have happened recently. We've had 2 tournaments conclude. The least recent one being the Sparkle Soul Silver tournament for Glitchless Manipulus. It was ran by French organizers, and Yaxo won that tournament, thus continuing the trend of 4 straight world record losers winning the entire tournament after losing their world record. I just thought that was a
Pretty crazy.
pretty weird trend. It seems that when you lose a record, there's a chip on your shoulder to win whatever next tournament there is. Funny how that works. And then the most recent tournament that has finished is the Red Glitchless No IT tournament, in which Wongbro has won. Wongbro being, one of the organizers of the new format and tournament. It's kind of a feel-good story in my eyes. First time tournament winner. Definitely a deserving player, and congrats to him as well.
It was a good watch. There were a lot of good matches in the tournament. So
Yeah,
we'd recommend go check it out if you haven't.
Definitely a very good tournament there too. Yeah, that's that for tournaments and stuff. Cool things that have transpired recently. We finally have the Gen 3 DS frame rate adjustment and conversion take place on the leaderboards. It's finally gone live and official. Pretty much this means that all DS runs of Gen 3 games are converted to be, just a little bit faster now. Every run is about 8 to 9 seconds faster, just because all the Gen 3 runs end up being around 2 hours. That's just about how much time is taken off for every run for DS runs. Except for Fire Red Round 2, which ends up being 14 to 15 seconds. But yeah, it's just a nice little evening out for DS runs, and certainly makes me want to play more Gen 3, because, a DS is all I really have right now that can run that.
More even playing field for those who only have access to DS, which is I think it's always a good thing to do that.
And I guess
Okay, sorry about that. I don't have audio sources on that scene, so you should be able to hear us all now. So as mentioned, we're gonna have a barrier blitz, as you saw on the screen, there's going to be a barrier blitz for Sword and Shield of the DLC categories, specifically Don't Get Urshifu and Get Urshifu. And it'll run for 2 days, December 21st to December 22nd. Still unclear. I don't think we've fully decided how we're gonna how runners are gonna tackle each category. Whether they'll choose to do one category whenever they feel, or whether each day will be dedicated to a specific category as well. So should be a fun event. It'll be on this channel. I think for 12 hours each day. And then we have I think we have at least one runner from Japan who may get an earlier start. We're not 100% sure. I'm not 100% sure how that's going to work, but we're going to have a good strong field this year, and it should be a fun event.
Yeah, and so the link that I attached in chat here is the link to the prize pool where you can donate to the top. I don't know what the share is, but the top couple runners will each get shares. So if you want to fund anything to that, that'd be great. Very much appreciated. And yeah, I think it's a 2-day event, 12 hours each day, and I think any runner can do any run they feel, and then it's just there's separate leaderboard, or there's like combined leaderboards at the end. Whoever has the best overall time will be the winner.
Yeah, and I think you can kind of pivot between the two as well. So I think we might see some runners
yes
start in one, and they may decide to switch over to a different category.
Yes. What else? Yeah. As Iron said, we do have a runner from Japan competing with us, which is very cool. We don't often get to merge the Japanese and English scenes very often in the late gen games, so it's going to be pretty exciting. There's a lot of competition. It should be a pretty fun watch. As the graphic said, it's December 21st to the 22nd. So stay tuned for that.
Yep. Okay. I guess with that, we can move on to. Is there a focus topic, or are we just gonna? We have a lot of Sword and Shield runs and our noted runs. I'm not sure what the Sword and Shield activity that we're going to be talking about here is.
Yeah,
it's almost like it's going to be a Sword and Shield focused topic. So,
I mean, I guess we could just underscore it with the idea that I think there is so much Sword Shield activity because there were new discoveries in Sword Shield that make the run maybe not significantly faster, but decently faster. With turning airplane mode on and keeping your Joy-Cons out of the dock were both timed to be faster in many different loads in the run. And so I think that got people's excitement up to run the game. So there's a lot of different Sword Shield runs we're going to be talking about.
Yeah, and I think for Rays, I think it actually doesn't help. If that.
Yeah. But yeah, I think just that idea has sparked some excitement in the Sword Shield community.
Yep. Yeah, we'll get it. Yeah,
we'll get into it later.
We got a big pile of those runs to talk about later. So we'll start as always with the Gen 1 to 3 categories. First up, we have a new record in Sapphire any percent by Warax. I think the record was previously in Ruby, if I recall correctly.
Do not know.
Yeah, so the route has sort of like changed from like the Ruby like Tentacruel, and then it changed to like Sapphire with Tentacruel, but still doing like Mudkip beginning, and then now we're like fully at like Trico Manip.
Oh right, yeah.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter at this point.
Yeah, definitely running on Sapphire now. I just think it's just better for no longer like doing level 100 candies. but yeah, the current state of the route is like it pretty much doesn't this run doesn't have like a particularly huge bad spot in it in the run, which is kind of expected for a run like this where like a lot of the RNG is like early game, so a run was gonna end up being like good at the start and then like just like chill out throughout the rest of the run. And like by chill out I mean like after catching Tentacle, like not much can really go wrong. So yeah, that's exactly what happened for Warax. Got off to a pretty decent start with the Trico section. First try Minips and all, and no real awful fights in the entire run. This run was notably done on DS, so already seeing some impact on the leaderboards of the Gen 3 DS frame rate change. So in reality, this 14813 is an actual 14805 or something like that. It hasn't been verified yet, but we do have video. Yeah, it seems like the trajectory of this category is more so going to be like focused on like we have to get like first try Medip and rare candy off of the Roxanne fight pickup, and no really detrimental fights at all. And then it's just going to be like focus on execution because Sapphire is a heavily execution based game.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be where most of the sort of time save is really going to be at.
Yeah, this category's come a long way in the last year. Like a low 148 is kind of crazy.
Yeah, just like the whole route improvement that we've seen, and I guess like the smoothing out of the run itself.
Mm-hmm.
Nice to see. 147 is definitely possible. There are probably going to be like quite a few runners that can actually achieve it too. Warax obviously being the new contender, and then the previous record holders like Albo, Icy, Blue Magma, and then I've also seen like some Saf glitchless runners also express interest, being Mockwang and I think Truly as well. So yeah, anybody could get a really good time this. As long as you're good at Sapphire, you could just learn the route. And it's also like a pretty good like dichotomy to Saf glitchless, where like everything can kill you for quite a while. In Saf 90%, it's quite different.
More focused on execution.
Yeah.
Than anything else after you get Tentacle, I imagine.
Easier to complete runs.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
All right, and then we have here a new record. We haven't seen much activity in this category in a bit, but we have a new record by Chippy in Fire Red any percent, sub 120, 1.1955. Pretty significant improvement. Although, yeah, so he PB'd by a couple minutes, and he was already close to record in his PB, but it's a pretty significant improvement, almost 2-minute improvement.
Yeah, I think Internet had grinded this category down quite a bit, like a while ago, on emulator, and I think he has like a 118 on emulator or something, and so this run made up a lot of ground on that. After As Iron set up quite a big period of inactivity. But yeah, I think this is a pretty large step in the right direction. I imagine maybe Chippy will keep going. We haven't seen him too active in the Gen 3 community all that recently, so this is kind of a little bit out of nowhere. But I mean, there's from his notes around the run, it seems like he is not exactly completely satisfied with it. So he may continue potentially. But as I said, it's a large step in the right direction. So I think it's good.
Yeah, it's probably at least like 2 minutes of time to save compared to like Ananen's run on emulator.
Yeah.
But this record itself was like around a 2-minute world record on console, beating I believe Catternese.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It's nice to see a console run that's getting there.
Mm-hmm.
So this
Sure.
run,
Oh,
this
sorry,
run.
go ahead.
Sorry, this run. It says that he forgot cerulean candy. So how do you make that up, or does he have to go back for it later?
I Good
I'd
question,
imagine he
actually.
just goes back for it.
Oh,
Or
okay.
I'm not sure, but like, I think you might need the.
I think you need it
You
because
need
the
it,
EVs
yeah.
are pretty precise.
So yeah, assuming that this whole run finished as usual, he probably just like lost time to forgetting it at some point.
Let's
Because I mean,
see.
because you don't actually need it until until you trade for Mr. Mime, at least. Probably even later than that. So like,
Oh, you could just teleport here. That's pretty cool.
yeah, it's a pretty neat bit of 80%.
Yeah, he does have to go back up here to get to the dig house. Oh, no, he does go back in. Okay, I don't know. Maybe he grabbed it after Rival or something.
Yeah, assuming like you can still like teleport here later, like there's still like a chance for him to get it later.
Yeah.
Although, losing time. But yeah.
Alright, congrats to Chippy on the run here. Staying with Fire Red Leaf Green, this one, I didn't, there was a timestamp and it's, Twitch highlights play automatically. So...
I think the highlight's coming up.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
yeah, it is actually right here. It's the Koga fight.
Sorry, it's a bit cut off as well.
Yeah, but this is keeping it icy. He's got a run in Leaf Green Glitchless, which is second place actually, 20023, done on DS. So, another run where the DS conversion has, a pretty big impact. Pretty much the outline of this run is that he got a 4303 surge, which is really, really good. And then the run is also like just really good throughout, except for the part that I've highlighted, which is the Koga fight. But he is able to continue because he probably because he thought he was so far ahead that he could afford to pick up a revive in the Safari Zone and then like continue a run that does die to Koga, which is not not a bad idea, I don't think, because it was a pretty far ahead run compared to his PB, and definitely still able to muster out a second place time by like 30 seconds over third place. Like it's a pretty incredible time for what he had before and what he actually wanted, which is, I'm guessing, a 200.
Yeah, he was like well ahead of record before this death.
Yeah,
So, like,
definitely
fully.
definitely on sub 2, sub Pokey Guy pace. Pretty crazy.
Yeah, it was a pretty crazy run. Yeah, to even consider getting the revive for record runs is like the fact that you can do that is really, really amazing. And fortunately, the death that he got was probably about as good as it could have been, as weird as that is to say. Yeah, he basically just got put right back into Torrent.
Definitely played the fight a lot differently because he had the revive. Like, he got poisoned
Yes.
and was going against like a minimized muck.
Yeah.
So at that point, he's just like, probably faster to just die whenever you would die and then revive.
Yeah, the alternative would have been to like full restore, and that puts your HP in a super sketchy spot, and the literally might just be slower because you get like smoke screen or tox, or it can just like blow up. It's like a really sketchy spot that you don't really ever encounter. Toxic is super rare in Monk.
Yeah, it's kind of a rare instance of where like a safety strat that you don't normally see pays off in a run.
Yeah. I think the last time there was a death in a Fire Leaf Green run this good was Pokeguy's record. That was a 203. That was like 3-4 years ago.
Oh wow, yeah.
So yeah, there's the state of Fire Leaf Green runs is like there's a lot of luck involved in getting this kind of time, and so the fact that he was able to do it with this kind of death is really good.
Mhm.
Okay. Switching gears a bit here, we have one DS run to talk about, and it's by our former host on the podcast, Skogogo, with a Diamond Glitchless record. Do you want to take this one, Tucker?
Yeah, sure. So Skogoku got a 341.33, which is a record by about like 10 seconds, I want to say. In Diamond Glitchless. Yeah, 13 seconds. The run was kind of up and down. It has two major time loss points. The first being the highlight here, a death to Victory Road rival to Barry, his Staraptor, on turn one of the fight. So loses quite a bit of time here. Still able to go to revive and complete the fight, and still be ahead of record at this point. Another big time loss that happened is in the 7th gym, in the ice gym, where you have to pretty much get lucky and pass an undodgeable spinner, or a spinner that you have to YOLO, because just because of how weird the gym is. It's like you have to like slide on the ice and then like slide past the spinner without like being seen. So it is almost like a true full YOLO. There's like one thing that you could do, but you have to be like frame perfect with it, and I'm not even sure if that's like ever been executed before, like accurately. But yeah, gets unlucky with that spinner. So those are like that adds up to like about a minute plus of potential time save. That being said, I know that Skogogo definitely did not think this run would be the one that would get the record, because he was on like 4 separate pacers that either like died in E4 or PB'd, but wasn't a PB that he was hoping for, that were all faster than this run. So this run being the one that finishes with a clean E4 or a clean Cynthia without embargo on turn 1 is kind of sickening, but yeah, there's a lot more to go with Diamond Glitchless, but I think Sko is kind of done for now with Diamond. I also do know of some work that's being done on the route itself, a new seed, and potentially like a Mart skip that's happening in Glitchless, something I heard about. But yeah, seems like Diamond Glitchless is just at a weird point right now where Sko is like running this knowing that like there was going to be a new route, but like I just think that he just really wanted the record anyway, just because he saw a lot of room for improvement, and yeah, he just had runs about every time that he did the stream, and finally got one to complete.
Okay. Congrats again to Skoa. Now we're going to move on to our list of, looks like 12 runs on the Switch. Something like that. Um, most of these are on Sword and Shield, although we do have some Let's Go, and we have one PLA run to talk about as well. So first up, we have Yuki11 with a Sword record on English with Candy Floss with a 404.45.
Yeah. So this is the current record right now. It is just kind of like good throughout. Like there aren't really any lulls besides just like, little time losses here and there. He gets kind of unlucky in Bia's gym, the fighting gym. Loses about 10 seconds there. This is like probably the biggest time loss in the entire run. So this one's definitely going to be a tough one to beat. As you saw, he gets a level 10 Vulpix, which is very big for the early game, and the stats are pretty good as well. He gets an extra encounter. Ooh, time save. But yeah, his early game overall is like pretty good. With all the new optimizations in Sword Shield that I mentioned earlier, with airplane mode, Joy-Cons off, and on top of that, for Candy Floss specifically, there is a new route that saves about 20 seconds. That involves trying to save as many X items as possible. Because you wanna shop early when you get to the center for the first time in Motostoke, so that you don't have to fly back to Motostoke after you get the Sunstone. So instead, you would just fly straight back to Holbury and relearn your moves in that center instead of having to go to two separate centers and fly an extra time. So part of that is keeping growth for like the first couple gyms to use in some spots in replacement for X specials. Growth also happens to be faster to use, so it does actually save time on top of that on those fights where you can do them. And then you replace growth with Giga Drain as in the normal route after Kabu. So everything after that is normal. But yeah, not having to take an extra trip to buy X specials is quite a bit of time save, and so Candy Floss is in quite a flux right now in terms of getting good runs. I think I would maybe argue that Candy Floss is now more reliably faster than Sobble for any percent, no DLC. So I think the future of records. I mean, obviously Sobble can still get the record. Any of the routes can still get the record right now. But I think it would be more reasonable to expect that they will be on Candy Floss for the foreseeable future. And yeah, this run's pretty good. So it's gonna be a little tricky, but yeah, this is the current record. And yeah, that's it for that run.
And then we have a run by
Sorry.
Headbob here, I think.
What are you saying,
Just
Tucker?
one more thing about the previous run. I'm kind of realizing that like this could be like part of the reason why we thought Ringo was so far ahead. Maybe just like
Oh
got
no, it
figured
definitely
out.
isn't crazy anymore for sure.
Yeah,
That Ringo is getting these times.
just a random thought. Maybe.
Yeah, so Ringo got like a 404 in Sobble incredibly early on. Which I think at the time like people thought was just unheard of. But if you think about it now, like, there's the idea of the old patch used on the old patch, which saves a bit of time going into the bag, which makes sense for Sobble. Sobble uses a lot more X items than the Candy Floss route does. So it all adds up that Ringo realistically could have just gotten these times very reasonably. But yeah, now we're finally approaching those kind of times that he was getting after so long. Anyways, sorry. This is my current PB, second place in Sword Shield 90%. It's a 405.48. As you saw there, that Machino section wasn't very fast, and that's pretty much most of the time loss in the entire run. Actually, most of the rest of the run goes pretty smooth. My Vulpix actually comes with a charcoal, which is only 5% to happen, and so I don't have to menu an extra time to equip it. Although it is only level 7, which is loses a couple turns in the early game, but still the stats are really good. So the mid to late game with Ninetales against the Macrocosmo section and Rose were both very quick. Rose is a pretty big swing fight for this category. You can get some a really bad Ninetales can make you lose a lot of time on that fight. So yeah, this whole run was pretty good. I got actually I don't think I got any extra encounters after this point, but there were a lot of extra encounters in the wild area. So pretty good run. I probably will be back at some point to try and beat this with all the new stuff that's come out. Still a very appealing category to run.
And then we have, I think, another run from you, Headbob on Shield.
So yeah, this is this is my my Shield Archidrol run, which is a 406.42. I think despite what you saw on the wild area for the last run, I think this run is somehow even more beatable, and the early game is somehow even worse. I run into like 3 different metapods in the overworld trying to find a Growlithe. And then like I find a Growlithe, and then I fail to run away or something, and then it was because it was Intimidate. There's another Metapod, and then yeah, it's just a very, if you watch the entire run through, it's a very weird run. There are a lot of really stupid ups and downs. Like I have a really good Nessa fight. My Drillbur catch sequence is like kind of weird. Yeah, it's like I don't like that this is my PB. Honestly, I would like to come back to this category more soon than some of the other ones. I think. There's always been this kind of like, you know, battle between like whether Sword or Shield is like the faster game, because Archidrol is a pretty fast route for Shield. And so I think there's a lot more untapped potential in the Archidrol route, because I think they were always theorized to be pretty similar top end. And obviously there's still quite a big gap between the games. So I think there's a lot more untapped potential here that may go for in the near future potentially. It's a fun route. Would definitely recommend to try. I don't know. Yeah.
Yep. Now we have a great bunch of any percent with DLC runs. First one's a former records, currently second place by Pirjo with Flygon as the main.
So yeah, this is Pirjo's former world record. This was record over Hume's previous run, 358.37 with Crocodile, that was set almost 3 years ago or something. So that record stood for a really long time. And was finally beaten by a couple seconds. I think this was like around a month ago. Flygon is very good. It's one of the better mons you can get. Probably top 10. It's set. I think Pirjo was saying that he intentionally Dynamaxes here as like a standard strat, which I thought was a little weird. I didn't really like look too much into what that really entailed or why he did that. But Dynamaxing obviously loses a lot of time. It's the equivalent of about 3 to 4 turns worth of time loss. So this is probably 30 seconds, 40 seconds of time loss. Yeah, 358 is a exceptional time. No one really. I think there was like before this month there was maybe 1 or 2 sub 4 runs, and now there's like a lot more across a bunch of different runners, which is pretty cool. I still haven't found Flygon, but I know it's a really solid mod. It gets access to both Earthquake and Boom Burst, and it's pretty hard. Yeah, Boom Burst is a really crazy move.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know too much else about this run. Besides the fact that it Dynamaxed and only on, I think it was a pretty decent run all around, start to finish. But yeah, I don't really know too much. Congrats to Pure though. That's awesome.
Now we have another one from you, Headbob.
And then okay, hopefully this is my last one. But this is
No, it's
this
not.
Is the most,
There's one more.
No. This is the most recent run I think of these. I got this I think earlier this week. And this was a 357-12 with Heliolisk and any percent with DLC. And what made this run so good was the start for sure. What I'm showing you here, one of the faster Dynamax adventures I've had. Because Heliolisk isn't actually the greatest mod. It's probably like, I don't know, 20th place or something, 20th best. It has a really bad ability called Dry Skin, which loses a lot of time in areas where you have harsh sunlight because you take residual damage every turn. So Route 6, the Eternal Sun route, as well as Raihan 2, is a really scary fight with Dry Skin. And also has a bunch of other scary fights because its coverage is severely lacking. You basically just run electric and normal type moves. And so any sort of like rock ground type that you encounter in the run is a massive issue. So yeah, and then but then on the flip side, one of the biggest shiny points of Heliolisk is the fact that it gets Electro Ball, which is a very, very, very good move for any percent with DLC, because it's pretty much always at least 120 power with no drawbacks, especially into some of the more key fights like Opal's Alchemy. You'll always be +2 speed forward, so it's pretty much always 150 power. And one-shotting everything on that fight is very important because it allows you to also skip one of her questions. So it's a pretty big deal to get a mon that does that. And also in Heliolisk's case, it was powerful enough to one-shot Gordy's Colossal, which most Electro Ballers can't actually do. They don't usually have enough special attack to do that. But my Heliolisk was good. Its base special attack is good. So was able to do that. So Heliolisk does have some strong moments, but it also has some pretty weak ones. All around, this run was pretty solid. Oh, and then one other thing, I missed the trainer skip in Gordy's gym and lost about 30 seconds there. So that wasn't great. So yeah, technically improvable, but Dynamax Adventure was basically perfect, so I don't actually feel all too bad about it. Also, I got no encounters, so I think that's how I compartmentalize that during the run. And yeah, I think that's it.
All right. We have another Twitch highlight here, but this one is a run that's 3 seconds slower than your record on Sword, but this is the Shield record. by Yuki using Toxtricity, which I love. Great mod.
Yeah, Toxicity's great. If only it had Punk Rock. If it had Punk Rock, it'd be like one of the best you can use.
Oh
like,
yeah.
top three.
Oh. Does that ability not exist in this game?
No, it does. It just all the mons in Dynamax Ventures have set abilities, so it will always be
Okay.
plus.
That's unfortunate.
So yeah, this is the current Shield record for DLC in Japanese.
What's it Japanese too?
It is a. It's hard for me to kind of tell the differences between Japanese and English because, as far as I know, Japanese text saves like a lot of time over the course of the run. Like it shouldn't really even be close between like the English timing and the Japanese timing, considering all the extra content the Japanese has to do after the credits. But yeah, it's like I'm pretty sure this is a pretty good run. Toxicity is a really, really good mon. Gets overdrive, which
Yeah.
80 power, doesn't hit your ally, and also boom burst. As before we said before, basically just hits hard into everything. So yeah, Toxicity is super good. Easily top 10. And yeah, 357.15 is just a really, really good time. I think it blew some of the previous runs in Japanese out of the water when it was done.
Alright, that's a big PB. That's like a 5-minute PB.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think Yuki doesn't actually do that much of any percent with DLC. His English PP is a couple years old now. I've mostly seen him on the no DLC side.
Alright, and then we have the Sword Japanese record by Watame with Piloswine.
Yeah.
Probably good because it has Earthquake, I'm guessing.
Piloswine, I think I was talking with the Japanese runners earlier, and they were under the consensus that Piloswine after Hop 3, i.e. like the point where you evolve into Mamoswine, is like the best mon you can get. Like it handles the game the best out of all of them. But because you have to evolve it, it's like only like third or something. Yeah, Piloswine, Mamoswine, super good. It gets Earthquake. The ice move that you use is Ice Shard, which having priority is pretty important for a bunch of the mons in the game. Saves quite a bit of time. Because there's some pokes that will literally always use priority moves. So being able to outspeed them is pretty nice. Additionally, it also gets Thrash, which decent upside in DLC runs that you don't have to reselect your move on fights where you're just like sweeping. So it can be pretty nice on a mon. Not essential, obviously. Some of the best mons don't have it, but it's a really good added bonus. Piloswine has a lot of good things going for it. And on top of that, the Dynamax Adventure on this run is also very good. So this run was always going to be extremely fast. Ideally, you just like get the mon that you want in your first den, and like you leave the first mon with like 3 of your teammates dead, which I think is actually just what happens here. Which is super sick.
Okay.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah. And also, I guess worth noting, GL Phoenix got the we don't have it on our list. GL Phoenix got the Shield record in English, which yeah, we can just mention that it was a 357.22. So that's also a very solid run.
Nice.
And that's it for any percent with DLC.
We're not done with this game.
Yeah, there's still got some more.
We have Spider with Sword get to Calyrex with a 116.40, so that's about a 40-second improvement.
It's a pretty big record.
Yes. So the way Spider does the run, he does a really YOLO early game, which is has a very high reset potential. So pretty much to get into the DLC area, you have to catch a Slowpoke, and ideally you're the same level as the Slowpoke. So what you typically do is you either like KO things or catch things, and then use a rare candy to hit the same level as the Slowpoke, so its catch rate is higher. But if you're lower level, which is what Spider goes for, the catch rate is I think like 9% per ball or something like that, and
Yeah.
it could just kill you. I watched him do a few runs, and he would die in like 2 turns. Like it would just use acid both times because he starts with Grookey, and but he got second ball Slowpoke in this run, which is super good, and then a pretty good Dynamax adventure as well. Which the goal in this is to get to the end and catch the Suicune at the end. Or
That's kind of really what this category boils down to, because like all the stuff that Iron like mentioned, like you can either kill the Onyx or you can like catch an extra thing and candy to 12 to guarantee the catch. All of that is like really slow, especially for a short category as this. But the alternative is horrific to think about. So it really just comes down to getting that YOLO ball and then getting a good Dynamax adventure, and then you have it. That's basically all this category boils down to. And so yeah, this run was this run pretty much all you realistically can ask for, I guess. Obviously this can be improved, but pretty big record overall. Gonna be hard to beat, I think.
Yeah, I think Spider's the only one who's been running this frequently, so we'll see if he continues to improve it.
Yeah.
Then we have one run from the last run by Headbob, and this is Galarian Star Tournament.
Oh boy, strap in.
Is this record or is it second place?
So this is second place. This is about a minute and a half off A Peugeot's record, and it would have been record if not for what you're about to watch. I missed the Zapdos, but I was like, in my mind, I was like, okay, it's okay, because in the race we had done earlier, I just like flew back to Motostoke after leaving the wild area, and then it reappeared and it was fine. So I was like, okay, whatever, like 30 seconds time loss, whatever. And then that just like didn't happen this time. And so at some point I just like gave up and just started chasing it all around the wild area. It was like probably like a 2.5-3 minute endeavor, so it lost me enough time to lose record, which kind of really stung at the time. But also like the rest of the run was like super good. I was like really proud of how I played. I got super lucky. So I was like pretty content moving on. So most of the bad to talk about is all in that section. Oh, this is pretty funny to watch the shenanigans that happens here. I was like so confused. I had no idea what was happening because I was just convinced that doing this would just kind of work, and then it just never did. But yeah, it was pretty much averaged around 11 turns for all 7 legendaries. I think the best I had was like 9 turns. The worst was like 19, which for GST is pretty solid. And it typically takes like 4 or 5 turns to weaken it to the point where you want it to be on top of that. So overall, I really don't have many gripes with any of that. But there is a lot that can happen in a GST run aside from just that. Alongside some of the other categories you mentioned, 90% with DLC and get to Calyrex. This run also has to go through the entire Dynamax adventure to get Suicune, which can be really, really dangerous. It's pretty likely to kill you. But thankfully that didn't happen in this run. and then after you get your Suicune, it's pretty much just you do the main story of the game. Takes about four hours, and then you get to the DLCs and start catching your legendaries. So it's like a mildly interesting category. There's currently a race going on for it right now if you're interested. But yeah, this run was pretty good. I don't really feel the need to come back to do just attempts for it unless there's a race or whatever. But yeah, decent.
Okay.
Okay, now we're done with Sword Shield.
All right, so we'll briefly talk about Randall getting a sub 3, and this is still only third place in Let's Go Eevee any percent NMS. We have Etchy and T-Pat who also have sub 3, and I'm not sure if anyone else has, but
unknown.
Yes, this is Caden. Can be an annoying fight. Looks like it was fine here. But a pretty decent run. I think he meant in the notes slow Brock.
Yeah, I think what happened was he like got kicked out of Brock's gym by picking the wrong Mon.
Oh right, yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And that was like the worst thing that happened. Which is kind of crazy.
Yep. So good run there by Randall.
Sub three in Let's Go is just so crazy.
Yeah.
Congrats to anyone who gets that.
We actually have there's another diploma run that is second place that's not listed here. It's by Randall and Albie. They also got sub 440.
All right, cool.
And but T-Pat and Etiquette, another former podcast host, got 436 flat. And initially the highlight was T-Pat's or Etiquette's Dratini, but that Dratini really wasn't that great because I've definitely seen better. But I have highlighted the Pinsir because T-Pat's side was pretty good. But there's been quite a bit of activity in the diploma side. A lot of us have been running it. It's a super fun category. So he gets an instant Pinsir. This thing is a 1% encounter, so it's not. You can spend a long time here. I think my record is like over 50 minutes waiting for it. I play Pikachu, so I have Scyther, but yeah, I've waited that long for my bug to show up, and it's killed plenty a run, both diploma and AOP. But yeah, these guys they got just a lot of really good RNG. A lot of the spawns all showed up. This is definitely the best situation here. I'm not sure how their birds went, but I think they just overall to get a run this good, you need everything to show up pretty quickly. And so, and play well, of course, on top of that. So, congrats to Etiquette and T-Pat. So, this improved the record by about 5 minutes at the time. So, previously the record was 441 by me and Randall. And then since then, this run beat it as well as Randall and Albie also beating that run. So, lots of activity here. It's a super fun category.
Yeah, I have seen a lot of diploma lately, I feel like, over the course of the last couple months. And if you think about it, it's just kind of GST, except in Let's Go. But don't think about it too hard.
Yeah. Then we have one AOP run, and that's by me. This is a huge shock. I got 505.47, which is second place on Pika. Randall is by far and away the leader there, but I was hoping for sub 510, so I got that pretty easily. Everything just went insanely well in this run. I'm just going to try to find my notes because I did make some notes here on my run. Let's see here. So I got a minus attack Pikachu to start, which is I'll actually play the video. But this is actually the best part. We'll just talk about that now. I wasn't trying to do anything here. I promise. So I got a mount skip. I usually just go for it for fun. I don't actually do the setup properly. I just like kind of wing it, and I have gotten it a couple times, but so that was super good. But on top of that, I had minus stack Pikachu, which made things kind of slow to start. My Tangela was kind of slow to spawn. I got on top of the Dawson skip, I got a fast Hitmon in Victory Road. So usually you have to either have a chain already going or you chain in Victory Road, and I got a pretty fast chain. I think I chained 2 Rhydons, and then that improved the spawn rate from 0.5% to 1.5%, and then so I got it after like 3 ladders, which is really good. Instant Scyther, just like T-Pat got in his Diploma run. I got an instant Kanga when I came back. My Dratini was a couple minutes. And then I threw 11 balls combined at the Legendary Birds, which is, for me, pretty good. There are other people that are better than me at that. But yeah, I'm super happy with this run. I don't know if I'm going to try to improve it, but I would definitely run it again in a race with people if there was a race going. Just I have no desire to try to get a better run than this.
Yeah, that makes sense. There is kind of just like that bracket of like runs where it's just like, it's like pretty fun, but like I would never do that by myself, but it's pretty fun.
Yeah. I think this run, this is like after I had a bunch of internet issues all month, so this run actually ended up going it actually ended up not having any issues, but I was worried about that for quite a bit, so it's pretty good to get that done. And then I think we have one more run to talk about, and that's PLA, and we have Halkery getting a Shiny Charm record in 13 hours, 29 minutes, and 35 seconds.
Yeah, Shiny Charm is obviously a crazy category. 13 hours is nuts. So things will just like happen, obviously. Honestly, the thing that Hal pointed out that was like a bad thing in this run that we're currently watching, where he dies to Enamorus 2 different times, doesn't actually seem that bad in the grand scheme of a 13-hour run, which probably goes to show how good he is at this game. But yeah, he Enamorus is a pretty tough one. You have to like dodge its attacks in the overworld and throw balls at it. You can't actually go into battle with it by default. So yeah, yeah. I don't know much about. I obviously didn't have. I wasn't watching this run. I haven't seen the 13 hours, but I guess I can explain what this category entails and how it's different from like 100% or AOP or
Catch 'em all, yeah.
catch 'em all. That's what I meant. Yeah. In that catch 'em all, you just have to catch them all. 100% you have to get the full dex entries for everything. Plus a bunch of other stuff. Obviously, it's 100%. And then Shiny Charm, there's like a threshold that you can get to in each Pokemon's like dex, where you get, I think, 10 tasks worth of research done, and that 10 gets you like an extra bonus 100 points for each entry. And so to get the Shiny Charm, you have to get to that point for every mon, basically. There's like a Pokeball symbol when you get that done, so it's very noticeable. So yeah, basically you just have to do a certain amount of research on every single mon. So that doesn't always necessarily mean just catching it will be enough. Sometimes it involves using agile moves, strong moves, throwing scatterbangs, catching it at a certain period of time, evolving it, a bunch of stuff. So there's a lot of routing that goes into this category, and to determine like what kind of stuff is the best to do. I guess I went a little too early here. He's finally getting to Enamorous, but yeah, it has like wins around it. I think he said he died here because he was too lazy to get stealth sprays. So I guess it was easy for him to be seen. What stealth sprays do is it means the mons that you're trying to catch won't hear you. So they can see you if you're looking in front of them, but they can hear you, which makes it harder to be messed around with, basically.
Yep. So congrats to Halk on that. I think yeah, the record was 13:59 by Blood Dirk at the time, so Halk wanted to come back and reclaim that. um, we'll kind of just keep this video playing. We'll talk about some honorable mentions now. We had Ananan. We talked about him a bit earlier, getting 146.20 in red glitchless. Another red glitchless run by Lionheart Dagger, 149.45, and Amoeba coming back after a bit of a hiatus from speedrunning, at least like activity in the community, with a 2:00.16 in Sapphire glitchless.
Yeah, he got this super quickly, so he'll be getting more for sure.
And then we have a couple. What's this here? Is that 3 different people doing?
Yeah, just want to highlight a few people who have done HGSF's Battle Factory. I think it's just like a little nice achievement to get. Yeah, a couple of people who did get a gold print in singles. Selin got the gold print in Factory for level 50 and open level. Icy also got the open level gold print, and new runner Sitso got both level 50 and open level. So yeah,
Nice.
just a bit of factory activity that I want to give shoutouts to there.
Yeah, the factory's no joke. It'll be pretty hard.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got Ashes, who got a 313.26 in black and white 90%. We have Lucas, who got a 348.03 in XY 80%. And we have Shua, who got a 359.50 in any percent with DLC for Sword with Diggersby, which is also a very good mon. And last up to talk about is marathon runs. We have a couple marathons coming up. We have No Holidays Allowed 2024, which is starting pretty soon. We have Randall H. Cheese doing Let's Go NMS on December 5th at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. About 3 hours and 10 minutes long.
Yeah, but I think there's a bid war for the version. Yeah.
Yeah. So bid if you want one or the other for that. Exciting. And then we have Iron, our co-host, doing Star Beast any percent glitchless on December 7th at 3:04 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's about 2 hours and 15 minutes. So not Pokemon related, but if you want to see Iron,
Oh, it is a Pokemon ROM hack, but yeah. It's a weird one. It's kind of got like it's based on another like very old game, and all the Pokemon are pretty much replaced by what are called beasts or star beasts. So
that's interesting.
It's like a complete reskin, but a lot of the moves and all of our favorite Gen 1 quirks are in this ROM. So
yeah, that sounds very interesting. So if you want to check that out, it'll be December 7th, which is next Saturday, at 3:04 p.m. And then lastly, for No Holidays Allowed, we have M-Chan who's doing yellow glitchless the next day, December 8th, at 5:06 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and that's also about 2 hours and 15 minutes. And then really, really longathon, the 8th really, really longathon, which is a crazy long marathon. It's like 3 weeks long. We have a ton of runs for. So we have Desert Eagle 417 first with Scarlet Violet Mochi Mayhem, which is literally the entire game. December 9th, 12:23 p.m. It is 14 hours long. So tune in for that. That'll be great. And then next up we have J-Tattles racing Iron and Furious, doing a Let's Go Mini Evos all attainable Pokemon race on December 15th at 10:24 a.m. And that's about 9 hours.
If you like watching pain and suffering, I highly recommend. Because
has this been done before?
We've done a race of this before. We all finished about an hour apart, so you can kind of get an idea of how variable it can be. Pretty much, if you can evolve something, if you can catch the evolution, you must catch it. You cannot evolve it. So, for example, Let's Go Pikachu, you have to evolve Kakuna to Beedrill, but you have to catch Butterfree because you can only see You see Butterfree in Pika, but you don't see Beedrill, and vice versa for the Eevee side.
My goodness, that's crazy. All right, and then we have Mark Alarm and Elvin doing a Platinum Co-op map randomizer on December 18th at 10:39 a.m. and that's about 4.5 hours. Then we have Albie doing Legends Arceus any percent on December 20th at 11:16 a.m. and that's about 4 hours, 4 hours and 5 minutes. And lastly, we have Mozzarella Cheese, who's doing PMD Explorers of Sky, Beat Dark Rhino Wondermail, December 23rd at 9:21 a.m. And that's about 9 hours and 45 minutes. So yeah, that marathon lasts literally 3 weeks. That's so crazy that they can keep that up the whole time. And yeah, that's all we have. We do have one more announcement, I guess, before we end off here. And that's that we may potentially be ending the podcast after this season. We're going to have at least one more podcast for January covering December's events. And so that'll be January 4th, Saturday, January 4th. But as far as we know, that will be the last episode unless we can find someone to keep it up. It's kind of been a lot for us. Not as much free time anymore, I think. I don't know if anyone else wants to say anything about it, but
yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, it's just a lot. It's a lot of time, and then lots of other things going on. But if there is anyone, we're gonna obviously be publishing this on YouTube. If anyone's watching the stream today or watching the video, who's interested in taking over, please reach out to one of the hosts. You can find us on Discord or follow us on Twitch and hop into our streams and let us know. And we'd be more than happy to give you all the resources and tools you need to keep that up. I know I think it was when Amoeba stepped down, there's a bit of a delay in getting things going again. So I think there's more than enough people, I think, in the community that could do it. But whether anyone's interested, if anyone wants to do it, we'd love to see it. But as from Headbob and Tucker and I, our perspective, I think it's time for us to kind of pass the torch. If anyone wants to take it over, we'll be able to help anyone along the way if they need any help to get going on that.
Yep, and if it is the end of the podcast, then I do want to give a special thank you to any of the viewers that have stuck around. I know that, not a lot of people watch podcasts much as as it previously was with the first rendition, with like Sko and Amoeba. But yeah, I also do want to thank all the previous hosts that we've had as well.
yeah.
So, go into the crafted etiquette. Whoever I didn't mention.
Jordan.
Yes,
Jordan's a big one, yeah.
Jordan, the previous pretty much always owning up to PSR TV and running the podcast himself. So yeah, pretty big pretty long run, about probably like 4 years of podcast. Yeah, if that's all it is, then that's all it is. And
But we do have one more episode, so
Yeah,
don't despair just yet. We will be back
Yeah.
on our probably January the 4th. I know GDQ is the next week, so we'll try to have it earlier in the month.
yeah,
And if
we'll
anyone
finish
does
up
want,
the
if anyone is
episode.
interested, we can obviously introduce you, and if you want to take over, we can introduce you on that next episode as well. I think so we can keep this seamlessly going. But if not, there may be a delay in the podcast between us departing and any new hosts joining. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Yeah, for now, I think this will be goodbye for us for now, and we'll see you for the final episode in January. And have a good day, everyone.
Bye, everybody.